project didn't come without controversy. After being announced in 2021, protesters dubbed the project Cop City. In the 4 years since, dozens have been arrested, with some being accused of vandalism, violence, and domestic terrorism.
This is an APD vehicle that has windows smashed. It's one of the APD SUVs, a marked...
They were never going to stop Cop City from being built. You know, I said it back then when the protests started happening back in 2022. And the city of Atlanta announced they were going to build Cop City. I just knew that it was not going to stop. You know, they were going to push forward with this come hell or high water. You know, and come hell or high water is an old school term, which means by any means necessary. And I have a couple of friends who are in law enforcement here in Georgia, specifically here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I actually have some police officer friends, few cities around the country actually. But the ones in Atlanta was like, man, listen, the city's pushing this. It was initiated by Keisha Lance Bottom, former mayor of Atlanta. Now we have Andrew Dickens, who's the mayor, and who they just officially did the ribbon cutting. But just seeing how crazy Atlanta was during the George Floyd riots and knowing the vibe and energy before the George Floyd riots, which took place back in May 2020. As a matter of fact, this is literally almost 5 years to the dot, today being May 7th, 5 years to the dot. May 15th, 2020, that it'll be the anniversary, 5th anniversary of the George Floyd slaying and the riots. Because you guys remember how George Floyd was treated, and the police, you know, forcing their knee on his neck, knowing he was gonna die, and just over aggressive, overly harshness of, you know, the treatment of black people, man. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be black cops against black citizens or white cops on black citizens. Like, black lives literally don't matter much when it comes to the government scheme of things. And you can go far as back as you want, you know, going congressional, different cases. You know what I'm saying? We've always gotten the short end of the stick in America. Now, I'm in Atlanta, and knowing the riots and how crazy the city was, as a matter of fact, George Floyd riots, it showed everybody who were the pro-black cities of America. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you have a lot of, you know, Pan-African or black movements and black organizations around the country, around the world rather. But in America, George Floyd, they distinguished between who were just talking black power and those who were really the epitome of black power. In Atlanta, definitely known as being the black mecca of the U.S., was the vanguard of, you know, black empowerment, and still is to this day. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta has, you know, a history of riots, go back as far as 1906 with the Atlanta race riots, when, you know, dozens of black folks were killed and hung and lynched and burned alive, you know, by racist white folks, racist Caucasians in the city who felt threatened by black people just doing good, doing well. You got those Tulsa, Oklahoma incident that happened. You have the Tulane massacre. You have, you know, other movements that, you know, counterattack white supremacy. You have the UNIA, Universal Negro Association of Marcus Garvey, and which really, you know, set the tone for black excellence here in America, you know, which was not existent before the Jamaican immigrant Marcus Garvey came into America and set it off. You feel me? So I definitely want to give a shout out to the ancestors for that. But Cop City, I really don't know what these guys were thinking when they were protesting and just causing all this ruckus. You know, they cost the city You know, damn near $1 million in vandalism and damages and fires and arson and just trashing the site. Now, I would say this regarding the Cop City controversy, even though now that is open. The Cop City was actually built on top of an old slave plantation. You know, according to the University of Alabama, this was a workforce labor camp, which AKA prison here in Atlanta, Georgia. And so they had rights to protest. Not only that, it spans across a very large territory in the forest, which was actually used to be the home of the Muskegee tribe, who were forced out of their land here in Atlanta and pushed to Oklahoma during the Trail of Tears. And I remember studying and hearing about the Trail of Tears, and even there's the museum here in Buckhead, Atlanta, that highlights the Trail of Tears, a great exhibition. If you follow me, you know I go to a lot of museums around the world. I love museums. But this actually lets us know how important, and to some people it was sacred. People were protesting because they felt like it was a sacred territory that wasn't being respected by the authorities. And this $90 million project ballooned to $118 million project and facility. And the acreage of this place is another reason why people were really campaigning against the building of it. It's an 85-acre facility. 85 acres, that's a lot of land, 85 acres. So they had to cut a lot of forestry, hundreds and hundreds of pieces of trees and woods, and they had to clear the land, huge construction budget. And also, I'd like to mention is that there was at least one person that died during the building of the Cop Cities. And you're watching this video.
It was set on fire, it appears.
The Stop Cop City movement is accused of starting a riot in downtown Atlanta in January 2023, which came days after a protester was killed. Investigators say a state trooper fired in self-defense while they cleared activists near the site. Protesters have been accused of throwing Molotov cocktails at police and torching construction equipment, among other acts. The training center was set to...
You see that this riot and the protesting was something serious. I just couldn't get my hands wrapped around it. Like, is Atlanta that crazy for real? Like, why are they doing all this craziness? And you see the bottles being thrown. You see the cops ducking and dodging. You see the arrests, the bloodshed, the tears. I mean, people are so passionate about this forest. And on the controversial side, you know, those protesting against it, I mean, you cut out these trees, you're gonna make the city, the surrounding area, lose trees, which provide shades and wind and to the agricultural environment. This is not actually a good thing. You know, you take down 85 acres, you're taking down a few hundred trees that had to be cut down and chopped up that could have been providing, you know, wind and air and shade to the local economy. So that's what's going on, and my time is up. And tell me what you think about Cop City. You know, I didn't think that the riots would be able to stop it, and I was right. They could not stop it, for it is now open. It's official.